y'all, so today I'm making apple butter and I figured y'all might want to come along with me and see how I do it. A family member got a bunch of free apples. There's tons of hurricane food distribution going on right now, and she got a big box of apples. And so she gave like everybody in the family a giant bag. This is mine. I have some over there that we'll eat fresh, but this is way more than we can eat before they go bad. Some of them have a few brown spots, but that's no problem. So I figured we would just turn them into apple butter. And like I said, this is free. So free food for our family. I have the jars already in my dishwasher because I had a load of dishes that I needed to wash. So I've already put the jars in the dishwasher. They'll run through the whole dishwasher cycle and the sanitize cycle so that when my apple butter is done making, they are sanitized and ready for it to be canned. The first thing that you're going to want to do with your apples is rinse them off really well. So I'm going to go ahead and go rinse these off, and then I will come back and we will cut and peel these. So I've got all the apples washed, and so now we're going to peel and cut them up. But the first thing I'm going to do in my pot is add in some apple cider vinegar. I just add enough in to barely cover the bottom of the pot. Some people use lemon juice, some use regular vinegar, some use apple cider, I think, but I'm going to use apple cider vinegar. So like I said, just enough to barely cover the bottom of the pot. I always get my apple cider at Aldi. It's a lot cheaper. So apple cider vinegar, did I say all of that? Now I have to go on a hunt for the peeler. And a knife, apparently. So this is 4 pounds of apples, so I'm just going to peel them and slice them all into slices and go ahead and place them into the pot that I'm going to be cooking them down in. If you have one of those spiral apple slicers and peelers, then of course that works as well. I haven't invested in a ton of canning stuff because most of it's basic things that you can use around the kitchen, and I don't really like spending a ton of money to save money on food. Some of these apples are all different sizes, so some of them I'm not going to slice up at all. I just basically cut them down so that there's no part of the core or any of the seeds or anything in them. No crazy science to it. And then if there's any bad spots on the apples, I'm going to cut them out as well. I actually did a little bit over 4 pounds when I did these because I knew that there were some bad spots on some of these apples that would have to be cut out. So now that you got your apples all cut up, it is time to start cooking them. And this first step is just cooking them so that they are soft enough that you can take your immersion blender and blend them up. So you're just wanting to boil them and cook them through. I cook them on medium heat. I add 1.5 cups to 2 cups of water, and then I cover it. And like I said, I'm just gonna bring these to medium heat and let them cook down till they're nice and soft, and then I will hit them with my immersion blender. I'm gonna take these scraps out to my goats so that they can have a try. So now that I've got the apples cooked down, I'm just gonna take my immersion blender and blend them up a little bit, not a whole lot, because they're gonna cook down some more in the next step. So I just have a KitchenAid immersion blender. Any of them work. This is one tool that I invested in because you need it for lots of things. So I'm not usually a kitchen gadgets person, but this one I invested in. And I'm not gonna blend them up a whole lot, just so that they're like a thicker applesauce consistency. Okay, so apple butter recipes tend to vary on how much sugar you put in it, anywhere from 1/4 cup of sugar per pound to a cup of sugar per pound. I have 4 pounds of apples in here. I do on the lesser end just because I don't like a super sweet. I'm going to do 2 cups of sugar for the 4 pounds, so 1/4 cup for each pound of apples. And this is a cup. The next thing I do, just kind of per taste and looks, is cinnamon and cloves. I'm not a huge cloves fan, so I just do like a pinch of cloves. And then for cinnamon, I'm just gonna do 2 tablespoons. And I just eyeball it. Woo. Got a little bit more to begin with than I wanted to. Where the heck is my cloves? Well, I may not have cloves to use. So, there it is. And then, like I said, just a pinch of cloves. You can kind of look at it and tell like if there's enough cinnamon mixed in throughout. Once you get that all mixed in, you're just going to bring it back up to a simmer, and I just let it simmer until it's the consistency of like a thick, what should it be the consistency of? I guess like chunky butter. So I'm just gonna bring this back up to a slow simmer. Leave the top off because you're wanting to cook it down and let some of that liquid escape. So I kind of put it below low and medium on mine, and then once this is done, we'll come back, we'll can it. So I have simmered it down, and it is the consistency that I would like for it to be. It's just like a thicker applesauce consistency. You of course don't want to simmer it down until it's too thick, but just a nice clumpy consistency. And of course you could burn it too if you keep boiling it down too much. So at this point, it's just time to fill our jars. I just use my typical funnel that I use when I'm filling jars, and I fill them to a 1/4 inch headspace. And that's really all there is to it. And then you'll just debubble as well. I just use like a little measuring cup to measure into each jar just to make it easy. So once I get everything in the jars, I just clean my rims with vinegar just like I do when I'm canning anything else. One of these jars isn't as full as the others, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid on it and stick it into the fridge, and the others I'll can. You should have your water bath canner already boiling by now, and then we're just going to stick these into the water bath canner and boil them for 15 minutes.